Canary Wharf is a TV soap about the running of a TV station. It's the cheapest soap in the country with the lowest audiences. It's made by a new cable station, Live TV, based in London's Canary Wharf Tower. Mirror newspaper chief David Montgomery has decided to move into television. He's employed Janet Street Porter to set up Live TV, but he's also employed ex-Sun editor Kelvin to head all his TV interests. This is the story of a power struggle as television collides with print. When Janet Street Porter first arrived at Canary Wharf, her challenge was to create a new kind of TV station from scratch.
No. Just had another argument about the fucking lights.
Conventional TV costs over £50,000 an hour. Janet has just 2,000. Her first idea is to double up the offices as a studio so filming can be done anywhere.
Hi. Right, first of all, I want to apologise for getting you all in at once. I know it's not a conventional way to interview people, and if any of you don't like it, well, speak up. It's a live channel. It's driven by live events and things that are happening. It's not a hard news channel. It reacts to events of the day. For example, we would have 2 outside broadcast units and live things happening live in this space. So we could do interviews, talk shows, cookery, fashion show, whatever you want to do in this space. Now, we'll also be...
Janet has an unlikely and unexpected bedfellow in Kelvin, an old newspaper friend of Montgomery's. He's in charge of building the Mirror's fledgling TV interests. But so far, Live is their only news station.
Well, I better come and explain.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, you can make a laugh out of it, because he works...
It's a recipe for trouble, as they both have very different ideas of what makes popular television.
It's not the Daily Mirror on television. We don't even have to begin to talk about what it is and it isn't. I've said it's live television. I've said it's not aimed at a particular class. It's not aimed at a particular age group. It's live. No one else is doing that at the moment. That's different enough. You're watching the channel because you like the concept of the channel, of live reaction to events and what's happening, not because some bird with a kind of expensive hairdo and a silk shirt suddenly going to pop up reading out the weather.
I mean, when you hire Janet, you get uniqueness. Live is a success. It will be solely because of Janet's brilliance. And, but well, it is a failure in the same way as if you're a failure and this is a hopeless documentary, then things will have to change. And if it's a business failure, then I'll be tossed out as well. But that's the correct approach in business. I mean, there has to be a cutting edge. The idea is not just to be given a fat salary and a big car, and you slide in every day and mumble a few well-chosen words to somebody and nod sagely when the chairman says something. I mean, you do a day's work, and if you're not up to it, then you should pay the price.
The 24th floor of Canary Wharf is now in chaos as its transformation begins.
How did that go yesterday?
4 floors below, in the newspaper HQ, the bosses meet.
Kelvin's introduction went really well, and Jane whispered to me, it's all gone too well, it's too politically correct, and suddenly he made the inevitable remark about me, and we breathed a sigh of relief.
Got our revenge after you left, Kelvin.
Yeah, we showed in the green room and we said it was your padded cell. Especially he designed it.
And then, have you? Just a rehearsal. And you'll be outputting a station basically by the end of May.
Oh yeah.
So outputting it, but you'll be running one in dummy form.
Yeah, absolutely.
How can we view? Can we view?
Yeah, what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you, perhaps next week.
Can Kelvin have a monitor in his office so he can
monitor the staff?
So he can interfere?
He can have a little line. He can be down on the whatever it's.
That's really nice.
Will it be interactive? And the
I don't want it to be interactive. You can have a one-way link down. And on Saturday nights we do have gay news, and we have recorded somewhere, and perhaps I should show that to Kelvin later.
Is this with your gay chef?
Well, we have the homo who's the no-no of the week. Which is one of the most popular things we've done so far. Unfortunately, Nick Ferrari said yesterday, gay news is in one big chunk and I think it should be in small bites.
Live TV will only get £3 a year for each cable subscriber as part of their basic package, and only 1 million homes in Britain so far take cable. It's a long-term investment, and they expect to lose £30 million in the first 3 years. To cut costs, they'll use new and untried technology, and also new and mostly untried presenters.
How much should you refer back to the camera? Do you know what I mean? Because we've had huge things about what to call the people at home. Will you call them you at home, or would you call them us, or we a club or something?
Well, we're not a club.
Well, that's what we keep being told.
Well, we're not a club.
But I mean, how much do... Cause
you just call them you.
Yeah, but you wouldn't ever turn and raise your eyebrow at the camera? That's what
No, I would not. Well, you're not Ruby Wax. If you're world famous Ruby Wax, you might, because she's only doing it to piss on the people. It's a device that she's using to say to the people at home, hey, look at this drongo who's agreed to be interviewed by me.
Right.
And you're
trying to talk
that
about,
sounds really odd.
Is that there's the possibilities that you might be talking to someone that actually involves people at home. So it's the interaction. So I mean, it's a natural thing to look at the camera in that case. But
what happens if, I don't know, Tony Hadley saves Spandau Ballet and you say, you know, you tried to make a comeback and it didn't happen? And
well, he's never going to answer that. I'm going to tell you right now, that's a crap question. Right.
But
because I know Tony Hadley. If you want Tony Hadley to answer a question like that, having met him a few times, it's the softly, sycophantic, ease your way in for the nastier question. So you never go, hey, Tony Hadley, you're trying to make a comeback. It's like people saying to me, hey, weren't you famous once? Yeah. Oh, well, fuck you. No, I'm feeling very harassed.
Why?
Well, I've got to go to France at the beginning part of next week to Cannes, to the MIP, the television market. I'm trying to finish writing the Channel 5 programming strategy. I'm going through a full budget review on live. I've got 8 weeks till we go there.
How much does it all cost?
Don't know. I don't know. I don't know the final figures. I'm sorry. I really don't. Because it breaks down into technical installation, building construction, and IT, you know, computers and such, so I can't really give you the final cost. At the top of my head, I don't know it. You shoot anywhere in this place. Got fantastic views. Use those as background. It's my office on the corner, you can shoot outside it, inside it.
Where's your desk going to be?
I don't have a desk. I don't know what this funny little rail is here. Obviously the baby's clothes are out. I'm not at a table. I don't like desks. I think there's something men invented to make women feel inferior. Secretaries sit on a lower chair on the other side. This is my hatch for communicating with Philippa. The shouting hatch. We'll be moving in the first 2 weeks of May.
With the fitting out continuing, dress rehearsals have to begin.
We've got the British entry, of course, which is...
The idea is instead of individual programs, there will be endless live television when anything can happen anytime.
Right now, let's get the headlines with Imogen. Imogen. What's the latest on that? The last...
The news will be like an informal chat.
Virus coming from Zaire.
Yeah, well, if you've actually seen here, there's a photograph here in the Daily Mail, and you can actually see people all here, all covered up.
To save more money, they plan to use a revolutionary master computer that will do everything, including broadcast, saving on tape machines and staff.
The server's down, we've only just digitized the tape in.
But it isn't yet working.
Well, let's just play something then.
Yeah.
All right.
What we need more people. You know.
Staff numbers are controlled throughout live.
They want to keep the head counts down. That's what's important in the newspaper industry. The stickers on the wall are what we thought we would need to do a station. But the bosses downstairs decided at the end of the day they didn't want that. They wanted a lower head count. And so we reverted to their original plan. It's all very well. I understand this thing about head counts that newspapers have. But in television, you need people. And we haven't got enough people. But, you know, we'll do what we can.
It's the Red Army, mate. It's the Red Army. You wonder where they've gone to.
Have you seen?
When they're not in Bosnia, they're here. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I just finished it. She's just logging all the shots.
Oh, hard luck.
Somebody's got to do it then.
Somebody has to be a sort of Dr. No figure. You work for any company, people always want more. I mean, creative people are much the same. And they're good fun to be with. And you wouldn't want them guarding the bank, you know?
As Janet and Kelvin's disagreements become the subject of newspaper stories themselves, it's time to present the station to Britain's press.
Well, that's
Is there one particularly good reason why people should tune into live?
Well, in the evenings, terrestrial television doesn't cover openings and parties and theatre openings or premieres or anything like that. So I think if there's one reason, it's you're at the parties you weren't invited to.
Janet, how does it compare to working at the BBC?
It's a lot more fun. Contrary to that crap you read in Sunday Times, David, Kelvin and I are all extremely good friends, and it's a lot of fun.
You want to start a bidding war, Kelvin?
Kelvin keeps his distance.
The best that could happen is that it's a huge success with the audience. And every major brand in the country is going to be beating a path to our door. The worst that could happen is a complete clinker, that nobody in their right mind would turn it on, and that we have to reassess, reevaluate, and all those other words beginning with re, which probably also includes the words rehire.
I mean, you're standing here in Canary Wharf. I've gone out of my way to create the most high-tech studio in Europe that doesn't look like a bloody television studio. I spent the last 20 years of my career working in television studios, and I can just tell you, they're redundant.
I can't hide my disappointment. I can't hide it, to be completely honest. I was expecting to come here and find Janet firing on all cylinders and doing what she did at Network 7. But like anything else, when you think back to the past, you always think of the good times and those moments when Janet came up with brilliant ideas in the gallery and screamed and shouted. She's grown up, I've grown up, we've all grown up. She's not taking as much part as she did then, and I don't expect her to. But I was surprised and disappointed, got to be.
Oh, God!
I have to sit up there as well.
I believe in people getting on with it and setting up their own systems, and if I interfered, they'd never set those systems up. And it's not that I'm hands off, it's that they have to create the systems and the organisation that they're comfortable working with, rather than me impose what I want on them. But it isn't my job to get involved in, you know, what we're making a feature about. It is my job to be very involved in the branding of the channel, the music, the graphics, the presentational style, the architecture, the look of the channel. That's totally only my responsibility.
To be at the parties you're not invited to, Live will need outside broadcast vans. but they have yet to arrive.
Hi, I'll get your number later. God, I gotta find Kelly because you're really nice. Because she's looking for her things and she's going out clubbing. And hi, how are you? How's it going? Are you having a fun time?
Using rented OB trucks, the presenters can't hear Live HQ. Luckily, Topshop has an in-store radio station.
Unfortunately, all their shoppers will be able to hear me queuing in the presenter, walking around doing their Friday afternoon shopping, but that's sort of how we're going to rig it up for today. Well, I won't obviously be allowed to swear like I normally do, so I'll just have to be very polite.
Definitely try that on. Definitely. Oh, you are going to turn heads.
British Telecom were supposed to provide the trucks, but to save money, Live decided to shop around and buy a lot of the truck's equipment themselves. The arrangement is complicated.
It's fraught at the moment, very fraught. I mean, we haven't taken delivery of any of our trucks, and I don't know whether we're going to have any of them when we go to air. BT at the moment aren't very happy, and I've been told they're not going to provide us with the trucks that we thought we had in the interim period. So, for example, tonight we're trying to do 2 OBs with 1 truck.
Renting trucks is proving a nightmare, so Ruth Wrigley wants to stop OB rehearsals for a few days.
Basically, BT have thrown a complete tantrum and said we can't have trucks. They have, honestly. I think our top priority is to book and confirm trucks that we're going on air with. 3 trucks, so we've got 3 trucks to go on launch day with comms, because I'm not happy about going to air without proper communications between the trucks and the gallery. No. And that has got to be sorted before anything else. I want them not to rehearse next week. I want them to, if there's a truck that is delivered, to go out to Greenwich Park, they send live pictures back.
I want them to be on that schedule.
Well, that's where we're fighting, because I don't. I want...
Well, we can't go to where, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, it's all a question of allocating time, because the production coordinator hasn't done OBs before, and I'm going to spend some time with her to do call sheets.
No, I'm sorry. Don't even finish that sentence.
Well, it's a problem that's going to be solved.
No, it's too close to air and there's too many other problems.
No, get another production manager in who's done OBs before.
You know, all I know is the information's being told to me, it's going out of my office, and it's not happening. Call sheets aren't being done on time, things aren't being sent. The information that I have and the producers have is just not filtering through.
From a very practical point of view, it would help if I was closer to you.
I've got 17 people.
17 people haven't got desks?
No, I've got 17 people with 4 desks. And no computers. And 3 phones. My office is inhabited by 6 people at the moment.
It is what it is.
So instead of me ever having time to...
Finally, Janet compromises with Ruth. There will be no OB rehearsals for 4 days, while they concentrate on hiring in trucks and reorganising. From 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, they should be broadcasting non-stop from here for years.
I think, well, I mean, we all think the same. That, you know, we've worked really hard, we've done our best. We've got this fantastic state-of-the-art technology, but it just doesn't work. And as a result, you know, we can't fall back on the old ways of doing things because, you know, as we've been saying over the past weeks, we haven't got that thing that you have in the olden days, which is humans. So we're just making endless lists of things that we need to do. Look, I'm a list woman now. God, you saw me weeks ago with my stickers on the wall. Now look at me, list woman, running water woman.
That's right. I think when the technology breaks down, the only thing we can do is to throw old technology at it, quick. We don't have much of it, but what we have to, we'll throw it.
Janet wants words as well as pictures on the screen.
You've got to finish programming the bloody information zone that goes at the bottom of the screen. That computer that programmed that's only been installed overnight. The exclamation mark that's meant to be moving isn't moving because it didn't look good enough, and they're rewriting that program. And I've just watched all the graphics back today for about the 25th time, and I've decided I don't like the music on one of them. And I can see people looking at me thinking, why she decided now? But it's like, I've just decided it's not right, so the morning block music will have to be changed to something different. People might say, oh, but it's only a cable channel. Well, that's the problem with being a perfectionist. It's a bit like an illness, isn't it?
1 minute to air, 1 minute.
It's June the 12th, the moment of truth.
Well, this is it, guys. 15 seconds. Good luck.
Live is about to go on air for real.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
Enjoy.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Air one roll. Coming to camera 1.
Going to studio in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Here we go. And music and cue. Hey.
Good morning! I'm Roger Williams and welcome to Live TV! Yes, we're Britain's first 24-hour cable station. We're the channel that are going to bring you the stars, the gossip, the stories and the views that you care about. The best thing is, we can bring them to you all day long.
Indeed, and I'm Donna Bernard, and we are broadcasting to you live from the nation's newest and most advanced TV studio right here in the Canary Wharf Tower.
Unique setups, we're going to show you the inside. Donna, you go that side, I'll take this side. This is where the producers, the reporters and researchers work on the latest in computer technology. We are Europe's tallest office block, and therefore we have a wonderful view of the West End of London. You can see BT Tower and Tower Bridge. Donna.
And this is where the big Conceptualizing reporter into the meeting right now. So welcome, Tower. But just take a look at the view she has from Canary Wharf Tower.
Thank you very much. Well done, Valerie. Great stuff.
Things go well through the morning, but by the afternoon, cracks appear. First, from an unexpected direction.
News time with Julia Bradbury.
Time, God, my goodness. Okay, well, we all know about the lottery, but that may...
A microphone has failed.
I can't hear her, sorry.
Fine.
We might be able to hear you.
Oh, no, hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? So it's 2 owners, not 1. And Mr. Gardner's estranged wife has vowed to fight for her share of his money. For God's sake.
The problem is we've only got 2 radio mics on that desk. As long as they've got less than 2 people speaking, you can leave the news on.
Yeah.
If you want a third person to speak, you need that microphone.
So, I mean, I don't know how, I mean, how should they proceed then? What should they do?
Well, we need somebody to police it internally.
Who should do that then?
Well, really, they need a technical runner to run around with the show and police that. A floor assistant.
Are we running?
Yeah.
I didn't mean that. I mean, are we running up the stairs?
Oh, I see. Not us. We've been running around all day. What have you been working like, sorry?
Bits of it. Not enough, unfortunately. And something else going on that might prove to be equally exciting.
And what does it feel like having a TV station start?
Feels great, I think. I mean, it hasn't really dawned on me until now. But it's, I think it's different from a newspaper because it never stops. Actually, having people walk past all the time is great fun.
Where are you doing that TV block from? This couple
I think.
there.
Well done, are you all right?
Yeah, very strong,
Where
thank you.
are they actually shooting?
Shooting right down by reception. They've made a set just in front of reception. Just between the Pebble Mill area and reception.
Oh.
Okay.
Glad somebody knows what's going on.
No, well, they were. They've had to move it through because they built the graphics there.
Anyway, is it still going flawlessly?
Yeah, well, no, Rachel ran down the other end of the room in a complete flap about 5 minutes ago. She shouted the middle. I can only assume something's gone wrong. I haven't gone up to find out what.
If you like it red hot on Live, then you're going to love our next guest. Yes, she is super talented. She's put spice into classical music.
Come on, how's the confess? The Avid has crashed with all the graphics on it, so we didn't have any stings or promos.
Oh,
So to run down to press to get the tape, because they'd had a panic earlier, because they didn't have the tape, because you know the machines aren't quite right in there yet. So we'll just go and get it and bring it down.
TV's been sort of almost stripped of that raw energy in its traditional, conventional sense, hasn't it? And in a way, the viewers are being exposed for the first time to all the excitement and the rawness of television, and that's the way I think it should be.
Okay,
Despite the fraught studio, most viewers would never notice the problems. The first day is judged a success. In the evening, the first of an eternity of live dinner parties begins with invited guests.
behind there, so why are you worried? Do you know, it's just that fear of not knowing what's there. That's why nobody's come back and told anybody anything.
I think people are born victims, or do you think they're
No,
victimised?
I don't think so.
No.
I think they create the body guys, but the mind goes somewhere else.
Yeah, but as far as I'm concerned, he's not getting up
By midsummer, although they're meeting their financial projections, the new technology isn't sorted. The OB trucks still haven't arrived, and Live are still trying to sort out something with BT and their outside subcontractors. And the channel itself is receiving a mixed reception from critics, advertisers and audience. There's a feeling there aren't enough real celebrities, and the interviewing could be more in-depth.
£4.5 million. The technical facilities we can review at that point as well. I mean, what I'm trying to do at the moment...
Well, they don't work, so that'll be a joke.
Janet,
We'll
the
be reviewing them when they work.
Janet, there's only one or two things that...
Well, the Avid doesn't work, British Telecom's fucked up, and the info bar isn't working. If David rings me one more time about why it's not working, I think I'll throw the phone out the fucking window. So, I mean...
The problem is, Janet, we are using a lot of new technology, yeah?
Yeah, the fact I don't know anything about it doesn't make any difference. I just want it to work.
No,
I couldn't give a fuck about how it works. I just want it to work.
Well,
it's not necessary to know how it works. It impedes you if you know how it works.
But the problem is if we had gone old style technology, one, wouldn't have the money to do the things, and two, probably couldn't.
Yeah, but I want the fucking... He told me that exclamation mark would animate in the corner of the screen. He promised me it would, and it still doesn't. It sits there looking like big, ugly and horrible, and I just want it to work.
Right. Well, they are working.
So if he's away for a whole fucking week, how's it going to be working next week?
What do you want? Do you want the Avid system to work, or to the...
Well, I want him to tell me what he's doing to make it work. So that when he's away, I think progress is being made, not made because he's not here.
Right.
Well, you know, he's not very good at delegating or informing people what he's doing.
No, he's...
And take him off the fucking internet project.
I have.
I spend my whole day looking at who's going on holiday and how to replace people who are leaving. What creative input have I got into this channel at the moment? Naught.
But at the moment, Janet, we have to get the base business working right, and that means doing those boring, turgid things, yeah?
It's not. It's not my job to sit and go through staff rotas.
It's time to face the Mirror TV executives again.
I think it's still fragmented to the point that it depends on who the interviewer is. It depends on lots of things which are left to the individual rather than dictated by the program's style book. I still think that's missing from it somehow.
Well, they have a bloody style, but they don't abide by it. I mean, let's be realistic. They've done all it. We told them everything you've said, and...
But I come back to it. A lot of it depends on journalistic expertise and quality of the people who are.
Well, if they haven't got it, they've got to be changed, haven't they? You've got to be ruthless about it, and I have to say...
Or trained, you know.
Yeah.
Janet, it concerns me that between 7:30 and 9, which is a surfing time for our audience, that we're actually putting out a programme which I think alienates most people above the age of 18.
Well,
what do you think about the visual effect? Is that there to stay?
That's it, mate. It's not changing.
Because that's one of the things that it was the content they liked. It was the
well, look, you're over 25. You're not going to like it, so don't.
I'm not over 25.
Well, all right. So, well, I think it's fine. I think it does its job in the afternoon.
When will the famous trucks arrive?
Richard and I can't see BT off this meeting, actually.
Can we work with a company that can't even build a van? And this is so worrying. I know they subcontracted the building of the van, but the whole thing depends on how they maintain the crewing and all of that.
We haven't accepted the Avid stuff yet.
Or the Sony.
Or the Sony stuff.
Or the BT.
That's about £2.5 million quid for the kit.
Right.
Okay. So although it's in use, it's not actually working as we would like it, so we haven't accepted it.
Right. Any other useful suggestions? Okay, thank you.
I've got no interest in that meeting this morning. It's just something I have to sit there and sit through. I feel depressed. I feel really depressed about it. I hate it when things don't work.
Don't you feel...
No, I'm a perfectionist. It's got to work. I was sold this fucking technology. It's got to work. Look, it's still got that crap on the bottom that I've banned. Because it's bollocks. It doesn't say anything. They're supposed to be programming. Well, I don't get much feeling of gratitude from the 20th floor, do you? I mean, you go into it knowing there's going to be so many years before you go into profit anyway. And in the end, your revenue can only be driven by advertising and cable subscriptions. So all I can do is make a channel looks as good as possible and hope that people out there are flogging it.
The OB trucks finally arrive, but it's a day too late for Janet.
Janet has resigned, and we have, well, hold on a second.
While she was away on holiday, Kelvin muscled in and signed a deal for rugby league on Live. It was the last straw for Janet.
I felt it was talking down to the viewer, and I felt that it was insulting their intelligence, frankly.
So why didn't you do something about it sooner?
Well, 12 weeks is quick enough, you know. Yeah. I mean, it would look unseemly if you acted any faster, I suspect.
Good morning, thank you for coming.
On the day after Janet goes, David Montgomery faces the city press. The financial figures are good, but others are questioned.
Is it true that the average viewing figures to live TV have fallen to 2,500?
I think this is a bit of invention in the Evening Standard, isn't it?
Is it true?
It is not true.
Correct. So your correct viewing figures are?
Well, we don't have reliable viewing figures because we're not on the Barb rating as yet, and we won't be for some time. So I cannot give you a reliable figure. What matters is how the programming develops. Janet did a good job in getting it up and running. Now, making it distinctive and very rigid in a way is a hands-on, day-to-day task, which there's lots of people capable of doing.
Bill Ridley is brought in from a New York TV station to come up with new ideas. He shares Janet's old office with the new boss.
We've split Janet's office into about 3 offices, and I'm going to have a very small box cupboard up there and influence my colleagues to great things. This is Chateau Porter. Anyway, where you work from is of absolutely no account. It's actually what you do that matters. So.
And what are you going to do?
Well, we're going to make changes anyway, and embrace the viewer a little more. Okay, all right? I want everything cut to the bone. Okay, bye.
Hi, Janet. Good to see you. Great. Oh.
Janet moves in front of the camera again, presenting TV and appearing on a number of chat shows.
You were working for Live TV, and you're not working there anymore. Now, I can't ask you any questions about that.
You certainly can't.
Because you're legally forbidden from talking about that at all. Your lips are sealed.
Yeah.
Which is...
Rarely. The
So
amount of money involved has sealed them.
Yeah, so I can't get you to sort of say how good Kelvin Mackenzie is, because you can't say anything about it and predict great success of the station or anything like that.
In the new year, Kelvin launches his new schedule. Instead of rolling output where anything can happen, he goes for conventional half-hour slots. Centerpiece is his 5-day-a-week soap, Canary Wharf, about a female TV executive in her 40s running a TV station on the 24th floor of Canary Wharf. The punchline, you're never more than 5 minutes away from a snog. The ex-Sun editor then moves on to enliven the news with News Bunny.
Good morning, here's the latest from the Live TV news desk. The Queen has arrived in Thailand to a fragrant welcome under a carpet of scented petals and orchids.
The Queen's furious with Princess Di, who's arranged a trip to Australia at the same time.
Anything that gives a sense of fun in what can honestly be a pretty gloomy old day, you know, pissing with rain in Derby. You know, what you want is a laugh. You do not wish to be told about poverty in the country.
Time to sting.
In the spring, Kelvin's revenge continues. Some bird with an expensive hairdo and a silk shirt does suddenly pop up reading the weather.
I mean, wouldn't it be a lot easier if it were in English, for instance?
No.
I mean, call me old-fashioned.
No, there's wacky guys at the BBC. They insist on doing it in English. We, however, go the more traditional route.
Yeah.
Norwegian is obviously the way to go.
Regn over hele, vått og grått, og så kraftig vind helt oppe i stiv kulingstyrke, spesielt nede i sør og lengst oppe i nord. Men i North England og South Scotland etter hvert oppholdsvær ut på kvelden, og lengst oppe i North Scotland vi også ser noen solglimt innimellom.
And how are the audiences?
Still small, but growing. I don't know, at any one time, probably 50 or 75,000 people watching us, which isn't very much, but this is the beginnings.
Catch Diana and Fergie as you've never seen them before. The surprise.
In the summer, the man who made Page 3 a national institution tries a new way of increasing his TV audience.
Diana and Fergie have one thing in common. They both love their darts. Come and join them on June the 12th when they play
Great stuff.
Royal
New first in
Topless
television.
Darts, only on live TV.
Cable is not trying to replicate the BBC. The idea of sitting down and watching cable exclusive programming for 2 hours at a stretch is simply ridiculous. If we can catch people for 11 minutes in any day, it's a triumph. If we can catch people sitting down to watch us for 20-odd minutes on one show, we'd be ecstatic. And that is, remember, we are surfing food.
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday.
9 months after Janet's departure, programmes on the channel have totally changed. They've abandoned the most pioneering technology, and nearly all of the staff have been replaced. The station is now losing £7 million a year, which is better than expected, as day-to-day costs are squeezed.
Lewis. It's a Harry Houdini special. Escapologist, Spanish Archer. Look at that.
Do you watch Spanish Archer?
This is an absolute winner.
Absolute winner.
Where do you get...
Do you know, we have people queuing up for the rights on that?
Absolutely. Right. The cost, huge. It's massive. It's got to be, well, it's the cost of
Into 4 figures?
The arrows, which work out at somewhere around 49p a piece. Although we pick them up after, so that's cheap. The sombreros don't come cheap anymore.
Amazing!
Kelvin has now taken over the whole of Janet's office. The Dr. No, who complained about creative people's spending habits, has completed his transition from the newspaper to the television floor.
You know, I mean, I get a bit tired about talking about cheap TV and everything. Generally in business, it's not what you save, it's what you spend. And it's very easy to say cut to the bone, and you can cut the costs right down so you don't employ anybody, you don't have a product, and you don't have any, in this case, television. If it won't look any good, the viewer's not going to watch it. If the viewer doesn't watch it, the advertiser won't come after it. So it's a downward spiral. Well, we're starting to be successful. We're quite wrong to say we're a major success. We're not a major force in broadcasting. We'd like to be, but until some of our rivals start doing the weather in Norwegian, I think we'll be some way behind.
Mackenzie is pleased. There are now over 1.5 million cable subscribers, and the latest audience figures show Live has a small but rising share of these cable viewers. Montgomery is pleased. Local Live TVs have opened in Birmingham, Liverpool and Edinburgh. He's confident it's an investment in the future that will make a big return one day.
Now, in the summer, though, you delivered the prestigious McTaggart lecture in Edinburgh.
Did.
And you were slagging off everybody in the TV industry, the management and the men and everything. Do you stand by what you said then?
I definitely do, yes. Yeah. I said that television was blighted by the M people.
Yeah.
Male, middle-aged, mediocre.
Yeah.
And they're in management.
Yeah.
And, you know...
Absolutely.